What's up, people? I'm back. Alright, this is part 2. Part 1, of course, we were getting into the equation method. And, I didn't want to run much over 15 minutes. So this part 2 today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the equation method. Hopefully smooth some of these things out, work some of the problems here in your book, and help you get all this stuff ironed out. So we're going to pop some tags. Okay, talk about some taxes and things and see what we can do here. If you know the name of this song, you can send it to me and get you a little extra credit later on, right? Alright, we'll play a little bit more of that later. Okie dokie. So, here was where we were the last time when we stopped. We were talking about this question is where I got to, and I didn't want to run much over. So right here is where I was. So we got Nolan has already paid the total of $210, and he also had that included a sales tax rate of 5%. So you want to know what the cost was before the tax was added. So this is a little bit different type of problem than what we had worked earlier. So I want to specifically spend a little time on that. Okay. So if you, in this case, this is on page 72. If you got that book with the marlin on it, all right. So that's page 72. So it said his total that he paid was $210, and the sales tax rate was 5%. Okay, so from what we talked about last time, you can take that, of course, and turn that into the decimal 0.05. Of course, we know that because we write that as 5 over 100 as a fraction, and you say 5/100ths like that, or you can also write it as a decimal, which is 5/100ths like that. So either way, it's 5/100ths. So we're going to turn it into that. Now, of course, we put the 1 in front of it. We talked about that last time because that, of course, that includes the price of the furniture, or office supplies in this particular problem. Okay, so office supplies. So our equation would normally be y equals 1.05x. Okay, but we already know the total. Okay. So we're going to put that in here. Okay, so the total we know is $210 equals 1.05x. And just like we've been doing on our other little equations when we've had these where we've divided by the same thing on both sides when we did the proportion stuff, here we're going to divide by 1.05. And whatever we do on the right side of the equation, we must also do on the left side of the equation. So that means we're going to do 210 divided by 1.05. Now what's 1.05 divided by 1.05? Well, they divide out, they cancel out, and that's a 1. Alright, so you end up getting x, which is what you want. Now let's do 210 divided by 1.05, and let's see what the price was before tax. Okay, 210 divided by 1.05, or 1 5/100ths, puts us down to 220. I didn't do something right there. Oh man, look at that. I'm crazy. I'm like, that's going up. That's the wrong way. You know why? Because I multiply. Oh man, I got to divide it. 210 divided by 1.05, and that puts me back to the original price before the tax. Okay, so that means that the supplies cost $200. Good grief. See y'all? Not even the guy running the show is perfect. Alright, so there's how that one works. So take your total when you know the total, and then want to know what it is before the tax was added. In this case, that would be 1.05 because the tax rate was 5%. So I did 210 divided by 1.05, and that tells me that the stuff was $200 to start with. Okay, let's keep going. Alright, so now we're moving over to page 73. Alright, page 73 if you're in the Marlin book. Okay, so here's the question. I'll just lay it up here for a second for those of you that don't have the book. Alright, so she's going to buy this chair. The sales tax rate is 7.05%. How much was the tax on the chair? Oh, this one's just asking for the tax to start with. Okay, so see, this one's not asking for the total. So we're going to do, do a little something different. We're not going to put the 1 in front of this one because it just won't know the tax on the chair. Alright, so $579, and the tax rate is 7.5%. Alright, so this is number 4 on page 73, if you got it. Okay. So the chair is $579. the tax rate is 7.5%. Alright, so we haven't really done many of these that have had a decimal in them. Alright, so if it was 7%, of course we would write 0.07 for that, okay? But this is 7.5%, so the decimal for this is not just 0.07, but 0.075. Alright, so if we change it to the decimal, that's 0.075, or 75 thousandths, if you want to get into that. Since it just wants to know just the tax, okay? The equation, of course, would be y equals 0.075x. That would be the equation. Okay, we're taking that and just putting it in front of the x. So that means, of course, we got to do 0.75 times the $579. And here we go. Let's see how much the tax is. So I'll leave it like that. Alright, so $579 times 0.075. And how much tax are you going to pay? Alright, so since there's a 5 right there in the thousandths place, you're going to have to round that up 1 cent. Okay, so we're going to round it up to $43.43, I believe is right. 43.43. Okay, so the tax is $43.43 because that came out to be 43.425. And again, since there's a 5 out there in the thousandths place, that number is 5 or higher, so we got to round it up 1 cent. Okay. Now, if it asks for the total, which this does not ask for the total, but if it did ask for the total, okay, we of course would add that back to that. So if it asked for the total, if it did, you would do $579 plus 43.43. And of course you'd get your answer from there. But it doesn't ask for that in this problem. It just asks for just the tax. Okay? Alright. Now, if we move on down, we've got the tax figured out. Okay, so we got the tax figured out here. Then it says, for C, Miriam pays a service to deliver the chair. Her bill is $24.75, and she tips the driver 20%. What is the total expense for the delivery? Okay, so it's $24.75 for the delivery, and she tips him 20%. Okay. All right. So this is 4C, I guess, is what this one is. All right. Let's scoot that down a little bit. All right. So she's paying $24.75 for delivery, and she's going to tip him 20%, or the gratuity, right? Either way you want to say it. Gratuity, tip. They both mean the same thing. Remember that from the last video. Gratuity and tip, same word, same thing. Okay. So let's talk about what that is as a decimal, right? That would be 20 over 100, or you'd say it as 20 hundredths. So you can write it like that. Of course, that is going to be you're going to use all that, so that's the 100%, which of course is the 1, because 100 times 100 over 100 equals 1. So if we add those two together, we're just going to combine the 1 from that and the 0.20 from that, and that'll give us y equals 1.20x, or y equals 1.2x if you want to write it that way. Okay, now that means we're going to do 1.20 times 24.75, and that'll tell us how much she's going to spend including the delivery. So 1.20 times all that. Somebody's going to cut it back on now. Alright, 24.75 for the delivery fee times 1.20, and that is $29.70. $29.70. Okay, and that $29.70 of course is the $24.75 and the 20% gratuity. Okay. Alright, let's see. Let's go do one more of these. Let me find one of those other ones like we did to start with, where you got to work it backwards. And I'll be done. I'll keep this one short and to the point today. Alright, let's see. I'm looking on page 73 here. Okay. Looks like this is a good one. Alright, at the very bottom of the page, Adrian shops for school clothes right here. So we're going to go ahead and work this one. Again, this is on page 73. Adrian shops for school clothes and spends a total of $93.42. If the local sales tax rate is 8%, how much was the cost without tax? So we won't know how much the clothes were before you put the 8% on there, okay? So I'm going to work it. Let's see if I can get everything lined up here. I'm going to work it on my paper, but I'll leave that laying there so y'all can see it, okay? All right, so this is $93.42 for the clothes. The tax rate is 8%. Okay, so what's the decimal for 8%? Okay, so we know that is 0.08. And we know we already paid for the clothes, so I'm just going to put a 1 in front of that. Okay, so the equation would be y equals 1.08x. Well, we already know what that total was, so we're just going to substitute that in there. So that's 93.42 equals 1.08x. All right, I'll slide that out of the way now. Okay, so let's just focus on this. So we took the price of the clothes, we substituted in for y, we can change that and put it into 1.08%, you know, take that and make a decimal 1.08, put that in front of the x. So to solve our little equation here now, okay, we got to divide by 1.08 on both sides, because that's the number that's in front of the x. Okay, whatever number's in front of the x is the number you divide by. So we got to do 93.42 divided by 1.08. 1.08 and 1.08. Okay, those are cancel each other out, because 1 and 800ths divided by 1 and 800ths, of course, is 1. So our answer is going to be whatever 93.42 divided by 1.08 is. So let's see what we got. Okay, everybody see that okay? So take the price of the clothes, 93.42, divide that by 1 and 800ths, which is the price plus the tax. And I did divide it this time. See, I did better on this one. So that means the price of the clothes, if you put the 0 on the end of that, it would be $86.50. Okay, $86.50 before tax. All right, if you want to make sure it's right, then you can just multiply that by 1.08 and it should give you back 93.42. So let's check it out just to make sure we did it right. Okay, 86.50 times 1.08, and that does put us back to 93.42. So we're good. All right, so we know that is the amount of clothes before tax. Okay, so cost without tax, 86.50. Again, our little equation we used was y equals 1.08x. We just divided by 1.08 on both sides, and we got it. All right. So last time the riddle was, what type of bell never rings? Anybody think they know it? I hope you all send it to me. Okay. Dumbbell. You know them things you curl and lift, dumbbells. All right. I got you another one. Let's see. What did the tall chimney say to the short chimney? What did the tall chimney say to the short chimney? Now, if you don't know what a chimney is, you might have to look that up. What did the tall chimney say to the short chimney? Okay, so hopefully some of this is going to help you. I sure am looking forward to seeing what happens with this stuff. So, if you know the name of this song and the artist, you can send me that too. We'll write it our number here. So, hope you have a good day. Hope you stay safe. If you got any questions, email me. If you know the answer to the riddle, email me. If you know the name of the song, email me. All right. Peace.